Welcome back to Ship Planet, everyone. This is Ace. Today we're going to break down the recent Medium article from one of the lead developers of the Shiba Inu project. This is going to be a quick run through the main points, and I'll try to bring some context into some of the points which have been mentioned, and if necessary, we'll run a few simulations to help visualize the impact of these updates and what they could have on the Shiba Inu ecosystem tokens. That said, thank you for all your continued support, encouragement, and observations which you share with me. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. These videos are for information and entertainment purposes only. Okay, let's get right to it. The Medium article is entitled Shiba Inu Ecosystem Update, dated August 12th, 2021. I won't be reading through all the text and word for word, but I'll summarize the key points from each paragraph and I will highlight the important details. Basically, in the first paragraph, he addresses security concerns regarding the recent large-scale hack which took place on the Poly network, you may have heard. And he uses this to draw attention to the robust security which ShibaSwap has in order to prevent this type of hack attack. It reads, over here, it says, the hack itself is a grand example of why we spent so long battle testing and polishing ShibaSwap before releasing it with security as our number one concern. If you remember, before ShibaSwap was launched, there were a lot of concerns about why it was taking so long. So I guess basically his response is that they were prioritizing security because as developers, they are aware of the type of attacks which tend to happen to networks like this. And then he highlights the three security features, which are multi-sig wallets. Now it says here multi-sig wallets, they require multiple signatures for any high-level transaction. Basically, if you read the recent wolf paper, you know that the developers, they introduced these. Multi-sig wallets are basically multi-factor authentication for high-volume transactions. And if you research about how to secure a network like a decentralized exchange, one of the first things which they recommend is this very thing. And several people basically they have to sign off before a transaction goes through, particularly large volume transactions. And often they are in different parts of the world, and then that makes it a very good security measure. Actually, FYI, our bi-weekly staking rewards they're actually distributed using this multi-sig process. The second security measure which we have is time lock. I know we recently got an update about time lock. This is basically a smart contract function which restricts the movement of funds within a 24-hour period. And if someone wants to get if somehow somebody gets through the first layer of defense, then the developers they get a notification and have 24 hours to stop any fund transfers, which is actually quite a brilliant security measure. And the third one, he just pretty mentions that our platform is an ERC20 or 20 token only, and that cuts down these type of hacks which are perpetrated on cross-chain platforms. And for your information, the Poly network, the one which was hacked, it was a cross-chain platform, and which meant that it supported several blockchains. And cross-chain platforms are great for diversity, but they must have some type of vulnerability which the hacker managed to find. And being on one chain, ShibaSwap is probably not as vulnerable to that type of attack. And then in the next section, we're back to everyone's favorite topic, burning. Now, in this section, Shytoshi discusses how the newly implemented burn features, how they're going to work. So it basically reads, I have discussed the burn with Ryoshi many times in the past, and he made it clear it is not ideal unless under the right circumstances. He goes on to say, I didn't understand this at first, but now after seeing other tokens with built-in burns, I see his point. So let's discuss the popular burn effect known as reflect. Now, he goes on to say that reflect is a genius bit of code which burns a percentage of any selling transaction and then redistributes a percentage of the holder's pro rata. As the token has more volume, more tokens are burnt to a burn address, which you will watch your holdings increase automatically. And he goes on to say that that this is actually a really, really good concept, which he actually literally called genius. He even says here it's a great way to constantly burn tokens, but it should be noted that the pro rata statement um, makes this mechanism benefit for whales, as their wallet will get the lion's share of each reflection, and therefore SHIB. It's not really ideal for SHIB. So let me explain what he means by the pro rata system. Basically, it's the same way our staking rewards are allocated, where you get your share of your rewards based on how many tokens you have staked in relation to others. Let's illustrate it with this image over here. Okay, basically, this is a visual representation. I'm just going to use this as an illustration. It's a visual representation of all the holders of SHIB tokens, all of them, including centralized exchanges. Now, if you look at the top over here, you'll see that over 30% of the volume and the holdings, it comes from just about 45 wallets, and they can hold, and just together, these 45 wallets, they hold anywhere from 1 to 100 trillion tokens. Now, for context, as you all know, in the SHIB community, we have over 600,000 holders. So that means that when distributing rewards, and in this case, burn reflections, your tokens will be assessed against everyone else's holdings, and you'll get your share in relation to them. That's one of the reasons why we get seemingly low uh, staking rewards, because where most of us, I think 75% of us, have less than 500 million or less SHIB tokens, and we are being paired up against people who have staked, billions and even trillions. So that's actually quite a big number. Okay, if I was to use this image as an example, anyone holding 500 million SHIB, basically, they would get about 3% of the benefit, even though we make up more than 75% of the total holders, and that's excluding centralized exchanges, in my opinion. Shytoshi goes on to say, therefore, for SHIB, this is not an ideal burn mechanism because it's only a burn. It's not a, it's not only a burn; it's a redistribution tactic. And I agree with Shytoshi there, saying that it's a very good mechanism, but it works best with brand new tokens, which no one has started purchasing yet. You probably know some tokens which use this feature, and the reason why it works is because it's easy to burn tokens which haven't been purchased yet. After they're purchased, the only way to burn is for holders themselves to burn them by sending it to a dead wallet. I'll just move on. He also says, continuing about burning, he says, I've also seen the idea of a straight up burn. This is the one most people ask for. He says, I get messages like, stop effing around, shy, burn half the supply. To this camp of our army, I want to make it clear that to do so, I'd have to purchase half the supply. Not happening. He goes on to say, besides Wolfmeister, which is Vitalik Buterin, he already burned nearly half the supply when it was worth more than $3 billion. So I'll try and see if I can shed some light on this, guys. So basically, if I was to go to SHIB here, as you know, um, like the answer just lies in understanding circulating supply. Maximum supply here. It says here the maximum supply of coins. Max supply is the maximum supply of coins which will ever exist in the lifetime of the cryptocurrency. In this case, it's 1 quadrillion because that's how much were minted by Ryoshi. And then total supply, it's the amount of coins which have already been created minus any which have been burned. So after some were burnt, at least half of those were burnt when Vitalik burnt them, and then anything left after that, plus additional burns, becomes circulating supply. So this is how much we have. This is what affects our price. This 394 quadrillion. And if I was to show you the caption here, it says, circulating supply is the amount of coins which are circulating in the market and are in public hands. the key word there is in public hands. Basically, it means people are already holding these tokens. That's you, that's me, the whales, and all the centralized exchanges. There are no spare ones lying around. Okay, cool. I will head back here. Sorry, that's the wrong article. He goes on to say, this leaves me with one final strategy, small purchases over time which are burnt. To initiate this, we've encouraged many tokens and projects to use ShibaSwap and to burn SHIB. And to do our part, we have implemented 25k SHIB burn and a 25k leash burn for every WOOF listing. So that means any project which wants to list themselves on ShibaSwap and earn WOOF rewards, they have to burn 25k SHIB, burn 25 leash, and also I know there's another 50k. Oh, and then they also have to provide 50k of their own native token as a reward to the community. If you know from the previous update, the listing fee was 100k. So now that 100k is just broken up into burning 25k SHIB, 25k leash, and this 50k is a native token. All of these being given as rewards, and this is the best which the developers can do in order to give us the burn which we've been requesting, because the other burn is just not possible because it'll require us tokens to a dead wallet, which most people are not going to want to do. So transactional burns are the best feature which they've come up with. So let's just see if I can try quantify what that is. So since we're mostly interested in Shiba Inu, it says here 25k SHIB. If I was to try and calculate 25k SHIB divided by today's price, let's see, we're at 7984 at the time of recording. 0.7984. That's about 3 trillion SHIB tokens, which is roughly 1%. 1%. So that's 3 million SHIB tokens. Is it 3 trillion? No, I think it's 3 billion. 3 billion SHIB tokens. But what they want to do is they want to have up to 1,000 of these per before the end of the year. So I'll probably multiply that by, for gaming sake, we'll just put that here. So that takes us to, that's hundreds of thousands, millions, billions, trillion. Yeah, so that takes us to 3 trillion, which are likely to be burned if they reach their target of 1,000. So let's see what that's like. That's about 1% of the current supply. So it'll come down to roughly 390. So that may seem small, but I think he goes on to say, when combined with the other features which they're going to bring about, like the NFT burning and other transactional things, it says here that it should be noted though that this is not the ending. Shibarium, Shi, and Shibanet will provide a myriad of burn opportunities that revolve around this utility burn concept. So basically, in my previous video, we spoke about the NFT utility burning. So it's likely that at any given point in time, we could be experiencing maybe 3% burn. I don't know, maybe every few months if we have high volumes. And this is the best we seem to be able to have. I'm always very conservative with my numbers. Ideally, most people would want it to be higher. Yeah, sure. Even I would want it to be higher. But I try and be realistic and conservative because okay, let's just say we said 5% is burnt every 4 months somehow. That would mean that the circulating supply would drop to this, and in a sense, that is actually pretty good because it gives deflationary pressure on the circulating supply, which means the price would at the very least remain steady. and ideally it'll be increasing as the volume goes up. Now, the combination of these two is actually really good for investors, because when investors look at a token, that's one of the things that they want. They want something which holds value, not just drops in value. So if we have these transactional burns, that helps keep the price at the very least on a very steady steady sort of growth. So people who do DeFi and also hold the tokens, when they start investing in those, that's really good for them, because it means it reduces the impact of impermanent loss, and also the tokens hold value. So transactional burning is really good for the long term, and I think that's pretty much what he talks about here. And I think towards the end he goes on to talk about the future of SHIB. He addresses concerns that many people have that SHIB seems to be out of plans. He says here, in my opinion, all the work we are doing is for Shiba holders and the Shiba token. The infrastructure we build will help Shiba be accepted at more locations worldwide, give rewards to our holders and ex-SHIB holders, whilst helping to grow the ecosystem to a large place where people can happily use their SHIB tokens. He goes on to say that SHIB is a brand, and all the features which are introduced, they are directly linked to the brand of Shiba Inu, meaning things like Shiba Swap, ShibaNet, and Shibarium, that they ultimately bring brand value. Later, he goes on to discuss some of the challenges which have been experienced by the team, particularly about people leaving the to go join the newest, hottest token, and also about how some people have been trying to maliciously dox some of the teams. And he mentions that the developers will not be using the marketing allocation until they have a complete ecosystem fully fleshed out. And that makes total sense, because in order to showcase a full product, um, it's best to showcase a full product rather than an incomplete one. And which brings the article to the final section, where he mentions that the response to the Shiba Inu incubator has been overwhelming, and he reiterates that the rewards are now twice a week rather than once a week. And finally, towards the end, he mentions that word of mouth is the best marketing, which and that our goal is to reach 1 million holders by the end of the year, and how that is a great start to when Shibarium and ShibaNet are ultimately launched. And before I wrap it up, I don't think I can leave without trying to do a full simulation on this. So we said that maybe 5%, every 5% burnt every, let's say, 3 to 4 months. Let's see what that looks like. I know if you watch my last simulation, we had just ran a simulation saying that at least by December we could have. Okay, let's just say we've reached our all-time high by December, and this is judging by if Bitcoin continues to climb and it beats its all-time highs, continue to be realistic. If a burn is implemented, 5% burn is implemented at that stage, potentially that would be the price. It means we would have eaten one of the zeros and would be trading at our new all-time high of 42126. But I think in my simulation, I had put a $30 billion market cap in January. So I'll just quickly see if I can replicate that. That would mean that at this stage, anyone who's holding maybe 400 million SHIB, the value of your SHIB would be about 32K, and you can just do your multiplications to see how that would impact you. That's assuming that there's a 5% burn. If we continue, why don't you guys let me know what sort of assumptions you would like to make? I don't like to make predictions. That's why I prefer to do simulations, because I'm not a fortune teller. I just like to analyze the markets. Let's just say by May somehow we're to get 40 billion, and if somehow we will manage to have 10% burnt, I think we would have eaten another zero, which is actually not bad. And If that happens by May, if we have that's a 70 billion market cap, which is probably a bit high, but this is just a simulation, guys. I'm not really predicting any of that until I get some proper data. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.